So today is our first Tech Beat series. This series will be us as students to be having a chance to connect with people already in the industry so that they can give us their outlook, their approach on everything and how they got there. And today we'll be having Miss Velma Namwela, who is a change management engineer at Safaricom. So Velma, hi.
Hi Charlene, hi everyone else. I hope you're okay this afternoon, or is it evening? The day has been gloomy, but we proceed.
So yes, tell us a bit about yourself. Introduction about you.
Okay, so definitely Velma. I've been a change management engineer at Safaricom for close to 2.5 years now. It's been a great journey, and I enjoy it per se. And what my role is all about, I know many guys don't know what a change management engineer is, but it's one of the operational services and practices in ITIL. ITIL is IT Infrastructure Library, where like now in Safaricom, what I do is look at the risks and service impact of changes, that be it a product or a service which is being introduced to the live network, whether it's in IT networks or it's something on the M-Pesa domain or the billing domain. I just, together with my team, we just review the risks that are within that change, and then we schedule it on the network on the best time that's that can be slotted. Like, for example, if it's an M-Pesa service, we know that it's mostly used during the day, and so we'll need to ensure that service affecting M-Pesa change is not done during the day. It's done at night, and preferably a night that there is minimal traffic. For example, when there's no major game that's being done, because guys usually bet using M-Pesa, so you need to ensure it's a day with zero traffic. That's basically what a change manager does. But aside from that, I also look at the business continuity within the organization in terms of technology. I'll just use the common service that's known, that's Safaricom M-Pesa. We need to ensure that the continuity of M-Pesa exists, like, how do I put it? For example, we know that M-Pesa runs from data center A. If an incident on M-Pesa occurs, we need to ensure that data center M-Pesa can run in a different ecosystem, and everyone is ensured that their money is secure in case of such an incident. That's what I also do. And the third thing that I do is knowledge management within technology. Basically, it's ensuring that we're able to share knowledge in terms of the new emerging trends within the technology world, to ensure that guys are appraised of such information, such that, let's say it's something like, I'll choose an example of cloud computing. We have the subject matter expert come in and give his or her opinion on the subject, and then we see its applicability within the services that we offer. That's what I do in a nutshell within the organization. Yeah.
Okay.
Then, yeah.
Okay, you actually answered our first question, which was, but I bet you can also take us through your day, because what you've said sounds like a lot. So let's say on a Monday, what do you do basically during your day?
It's the same, of course. We kick off our days with the network health check, just like your body when you need to go to the doctor's appointment in a year. We usually have a network call in the morning. We just see how the systems are performing. Then from there, we go into meetings. We have our change advisory board where we discuss these changes, the critical and high risk changes, and schedule them accordingly. And then I now have my other duties on knowledge management and BCP continuity on a day-to-day basis. That I can't really go deeper into that because of confidential company information. Yeah. But I think I can also answer something on technovation and my journey on technovation. I think that's actually where I met one of the organizers of this event, and he introduced me to the team and what DevC is all about. In technovation, I think my busiest time is in the technovation season from October to April, where I'll first start with introducing technovation, where it's a global competition where girls aged 10 to 18 are invited to take part in a 12-week coding challenge where they get to learn simple programming practices using it's called Tankable, and they get to be paired with mentors who coach them through the process. They get to learn these skills in programming. They also get to appreciate how to start up a business because they also get to do their business plan. And then at the end of the whole program, they'll get to also come up with their business pitch. And at the end of the 12 weeks, they submit this for judging, first round of judging, second round of judging, and eventually, if they succeed, they get to present this in a world summit at San Francisco, Silicon Valley. But from November, what you get to do is to go and scout out the schools that would want to participate in this Technovation Challenge for the coming year. Let's say, for example, in 2020 season, we had to scout these schools in 2019, send the invitation letters to the school, ask the teachers to permit these students to participate in the challenge. Then after that, we had to source for mentors who will coach them during the 12 weeks. And we normally work with university students who mentor these young girls. They get to take them through the challenge. And on our part, as the regional leads, we just get to engage mostly with the mentors and get to hear the progress of the students and just finance them whenever they need our assistance through the program. Yeah.
And you've mentioned about 12 to 18. Do you have the same program for people over 18 to maybe around 36 or 35?
No, for Technovation, there isn't such a program because Technovation is the main goal of Technovation is to introduce young girls into taking a career in STEM. So the main focus is that age groups. And then from 18 years, that's when you now get to the world. And if you like the program, you would now pursue a course in computing or any other STEM career. Yeah.
Thank you. How did you transition from a student to getting a job at one of the top companies?
Wow. So that I think I'll just need to give my student journey, first from computing all the way to what I do right now. For computing, I think my journey began way back in after high school, because during high school, I didn't think that I'd ever do computing as a course. Unfortunately, I went to a school that did not have a career session or career week, unfortunately. So I don't know if you know that your school did not have such a program also, please take it upon yourself to also mentor the young boys and girls into getting to know of these wonderful careers which are out here, because guys only know of the doctors, lawyers, engineers. That's it. But I think that things have changed right now, because I now also participate in our school's alumni program. And coming now to my university studies, I was studying computer science, where I got to appreciate. Someone is saying.
Sorry.
It's okay. Okay, I think I can continue.
Yes.
So I was saying about my computing journey. So in my undergraduate studies, I studied computer science. At first, I found it being quite challenging, because I didn't have any background idea on computer science. I remember my first class in Introduction to Programming, the lecturer walked in and he was like, "So how many languages do you know?" And then in my head, I'm thinking, I know English, I know French, I know some bit of German, but and then I was like, I know 3 languages. Then the next person who's sitting to me starts naming Python and C, and I'm like, what the hell is this? I do not know what this is. But I think over the years, I got to appreciate the whole computing world, and I got more interest also when I got to learn other disciplines in computer science aside from coding. That's Akina design thinking, the database world. There's also HCI, human computer interaction, and I got more interest into computing. And then from there, that's when I now of course, when you finish school, you start looking for a job. So my first job immediately after school, I got an internship at Safaricom. I was mainly doing a testing project. Okay, it's a big project, but what my scope was testing. It was quite intense, and we got to interact with a number of people from various departments and various job groups. And from there, that's when I got to interact with everyone and just learn from them and just ask a numerous of questions. And from during that internship period, there were a number of opportunities that came about, and I would, of course, apply for those jobs. And eventually, I got one of the jobs there, and I got change management. And from there, I've been working as a change management engineer, and I really appreciate that role.
Okay. Still on the same topic, did you handle any contracts as a young developer, like when you're in school? Did you have, besides the internships, like for us, we have GitHub, so you know how we fill the profiles. And so to answer to ask your question, did you ever handle any such contracts, and how did it go, and what did you learn?
I think for my the major that I would say was a bit contract, that had some bit of contract, was my university internship. During my internship, my 3rd year internship, I was working for it was a program between the university and the Ministry of Health. And what we were doing was developing a solution for the Ministry of Health for recording the events of patients as they undergo the ARV treatment in in hospitals. So I think one of the things that I majorly appreciated about that project is how autonomous we were as a unit, that we're able to just do the solution by ourselves. But it also has a catch-22. The fact that we were working alone and without any supervision, at the end of the program, that's when we had to go to the users and now explain to them what we had developed. And wow, that's when I got to understand why we need why we need user-centered design, and also having the user as you work with them throughout the journey, because within that period, yes, we had this marvelous solution, but the users who are going to use this system, they did not feel it, they did not like it, so we felt as if our work was just trashed kabisa, and we were like, okay, this is fine, we can still proceed. So we had to start redoing the whole project, and now have the user in mind, and it was just an interesting experience. However, one other thing that I can say about that program, in our internship also, the fact that we were working alone, I really did not feel as if we were working as a unit, such that each one of us had their own function that they were doing. For example, I was working on the database, and there was someone else who was working on the user interface. Another person was working on the back-end development of one of the major functionalities of the system. And there was our roles were not marrying as much, because we never used to meet as a team. At the end of the day we had a wonderful project, we did not put that from the beginning, like working together as a unit. And that's one thing that I got to learn, and I also take it into practice in everything that I do nowadays, even in my other projects that I have done, that you need to like work as a unit from day one, and always keep each other appraised of what you are doing, so that at the end of the day, your goal is met within the stipulated time, and you have actually achieved something that's usable by everyone.
Interesting. I bet a lot of people will have a lot of questions on that.
Yeah.
Also, you said that you didn't know any languages after high school and in uni. So did you start coding in uni? Or?
Yes. Actually, so I'll take you back to my first semester. Our first assignment was not Hello World, it was addition. So I'm there doing my addition, but then I'm like, it's not working. So one thing that I did, my desk mate at that time in class, he did not have a computer, so he used my computer, and he told me, you can just copy paste my code. And I'm like, by the way, it's so easy, I can just copy paste, and that's it. So for the better part of 6 weeks, that was our agreement. He would use my computer, then where maybe he used int X and Y, I would use M and N. That was it. And after 6 weeks, I was like, you know what? I'm not helping myself. This is not me. I've never been one who would copy another person's assignment. So from there, I attended one class there was a student at that time. He was in 4th year. By that time, when we joined university, we were the only people in school at that moment. We joined at a period where guys were on holiday. So guys had started coming back to school, and now he invited us for a talk, and there he was telling us about computing and how Google is your friend. And then from there, that's when I signed up for Code Academy and got to appreciate the whole thing about development, software development. And then at the end of the day, I still found it being challenging, because I was like, okay, I'm just coding, but I'm not really feeling it. But with time, I now got to appreciate the whole computing and software development when I saw that it's applicable in all industries that I could think of. I've always been passionate about agriculture, so I saw myself just seeing how the codes that I am doing can be applicable in agriculture. And that's when whenever I would be given an assignment, I would now relate it to mostly agriculture and health. And then with time, I also got to appreciate and do my own stuff, and also enjoy the whole journey in coding, and also appreciate it. Yeah.
Okay, now that as a change management engineer, you don't really code.
No, I
Do you?
don't. No,
Okay,
not
so
really.
do you miss coding at all?
What can I say? I do, honestly. I actually miss it, but I also know when you're out here, you also appreciate that it's not only coding. As I said before, when I got to in my as I got to progress in my university studies, that's when we were introduced to things like we were introduced to actually human computer interaction first. And I really found it being enjoyable, and also design thinking. I was like, I can actually be the architect and also just get the user requirements and not do the actual implementation, because I liked the easy path. But all in all, I really appreciate it, and I would like to go back, especially now as I transition to data science. But I think I'll be able to talk more about it later
Yeah.
in my whole journey.
Yeah, so actually just to the next slide. Okay, I think we can just go to data science first. What are your future prospects as you transition into data science?
Okay, maybe I'll just give some history into how I am also transitioning into this, because I'm not yet there. First, with my experience, the experience that I've gained within the few years as a change management engineer, and also my interest, I've got to where I sit in the organization, I get to interact with various people in various roles, be it the solutions architect, be it the guys who do the business intelligence planning, be it the software quality assurance testers. I get to interact with them and also see what they get to do on a day-to-day basis. And clearly, I've been interested into doing stuff with data analytics. So what I do on a personal, in my current role, what I get to do is to just do the high-end reporting. That's what I've been playing around with, doing the high-end reporting and also interacting with a team which is more into analytics. There's where I've gotten to just train myself into the data science world. And with that, I've been having a mentor, and he asked me he previously asked me what role would I want to be, such that here I am, Velma, I've seen all these people, and what role do you want to have, like future in life? When I see myself in 15 years, where do I want to be? So I got to explain to him that I'd see myself doing something in data science, and I'd like to be there, just coming up with predictive analysis of how an organization can make money, wherever organization that I would be, depending on the models that they have at that time. And then he just told me, you know what, that's a good plan, and you need to now work towards that job that you see yourself doing. And how do you get to do that? Through looking at that job role that you want and see the qualifications that are required. So you need to work through those qualifications. So far what I have done, I have done learning on LinkedIn and also on Plural site, gotten the knowledge, and now even I want to take a master's in computational intelligence at UN, and hopefully I get to transition.
Good. That's interesting. Data science is actually it right now, and it's definitely the future. And what are the pros and cons you wish you knew? This is in school while taking contracts, then did it affect your school life? And also the pros and cons of being a change management engineer.
I think one thing that I would say has been a pro is that when you're young, guys, when you're young, you are able to take risks, big risks. So even in everything that you get to do, you being young, you're at ease of taking risks. That's one thing that I appreciate about myself, that I am able to take a risk and do something that's off my comfort zone. Even doing the whole Technovation challenge, I never thought that I would be a regional lead, especially when taking part in it in less than 1 year, and then transitioning from just a mentor to a regional lead where you get to be accountable of a whole country. And I appreciate the thing of, I appreciate the risks and also getting to unlearn. That's one thing that I also say is one of the great things that I say is a pro, where when you finish school and you're graduating, you're being told that you've now been given the power to read. And then when you're out here, you get to now experience it such that you get to unlearn. Like for me, I did not know anything about telecommunications. And here I am now working in a really huge telecommunications industry and doing one of the critical roles where you're like the watchman to the network. And the fact that I was able to go out and learn from my peers, my fellow colleagues, that's something that I say I find it being as an advantage and also a good thing that also guys are willing to teach you out here. And what you need to have in your mindset is that it is okay to not know these things so that you may be able to learn it. Because if you go with the notion that you already know or you can't ask a question, you will find it being challenging and you may find yourself doing a horrible job. And one of the disadvantages that I can say is that one of the cons that I can say is that I never really got to see, like in my previous life, I never really got to appreciate the thing about teamwork. I used to hear teamwork and I'm like, okay, fine, you can still be a team player, but I never got to appreciate it until I've seen it within my career right now, where you get to see that different roles need to interact together to come up with great solutions and achieve something. That's something that I've gotten to appreciate as one of the key factors to success in any project or any work that you do.
Okay. As we're almost done, so if you have any questions, kindly use the chat section. To the last question, how do you keep abreast with new tech?
Okay, so personally, my main source of new technology news is Twitter, to be honest. I get to follow a number of amazing people like Hakina Jeff Bezos, and also there's the TechCrunch who share tweets. Then from the tweets, I get to go and read the articles. And then from that, one other thing that I find being a great source of my information is YouTube. There is I don't know, can you hear me? Or is it network connectivity on my side? Okay. From YouTube, there is the Google Tech Talks that I get to follow, and just those guys. And also at work, my role, the knowledge management role, where you need to keep on appraising yourself with these new technologies that are out here, so that you also when I get to know this and interact with these various subject matters, I also get to learn a lot from these people. And even the guys that we work with, because we work with a number of vendors and organizations, I can't name them here, but of course, Huawei is known. We work with them and get to learn this new information from them. Yeah.
Thank you, Velma. It's important that we know that there are other jobs besides specific coding in the tech industry.
Mm-hmm.
I'll be handing over to Harrison to ask questions that have been asked in the chat section. Harrison, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Charlene. So I find the first question here in the chat. What is your advice to self-taught developers that don't have computer science basics? Because I think there is more to just writing code.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is more of in reference to people who haven't done computer science or any computer course. Yes.
Mm-hmm. But they know how to write code, right?
Yes, maybe, or they are just learning.
Okay.
Yes.
I hope I'm still audible. It's raining out here.
Yes, you are
I'm
still
still audible.
audible.
Okay.
Yes.
Sawa. So just to ask you, and there's also I don't know. Okay, I was talking to someone. You can just reevaluate your life and ask yourself, why are you doing this coding? Is it because you've seen other people doing the code, the whole coding world, or is it something that you're also interested in? Because that's one thing that guys find themselves just in find yourself in just quagmire. I don't know what to do next. And one thing that I can say is that once you learn these things, okay, I'll just use the scenario where you appreciate coding and you're really interested in coding. Google is your friend. You can always learn these things online, especially now during this pandemic season. We had a number of content, educational content creators having made their platforms free, and I believe that you used this time to learn this. And what you can do, maybe your interest is in finance and you would want to do your software development in finance, you can just top up that your coding skills with maybe a finance course. I don't know any example that I can give in finance, but if it's in finance, you can top up something with something in finance so that you're also multi-skilled and you're able to relate your development in that section. Mm-hmm.
Thank you so much for your answer. I think you just hit it right. You have inspired so many people, I included, especially. So over to the next question.
Sure.
You mentioned something about user experience design and teamwork. So what is your advice to junior or aspiring developers with respect to doing projects that really have an impact in an agile manner, especially now if you put it in a case study like the project that you did in campus? Yes. Yes. Okay.
Sawa. So what I can say, and one thing that guys really, what I've seen most people doing out here, and I find from myself, I don't find it being the correct way to go about, is what you ought to do. Maybe especially if you're okay, still, I hope I'm still audible. The rain is getting heavier. If you're finding yourself getting introduced to something new that you do not know, do not go into the deep end. It's great to first have like a foundation knowledge in that principle. Like now in Agile, I know there's an organization like Scrum Study, it's called Scrum Study, yes, which gives out this free content on Agile Foundation. You can go and learn what it's all about and now put it in your project so that you're able to appreciate the both the both worlds, because even something like agile, it really goes well with user-centered design, because in agile you get to do a project in iterations, and these stuff are time boxed. So let's say if your sprint is 1 week or 2 weeks, after 1 week you've come up with a part of the solution. You go and present it to the users, get their feedback, go back and reiterate and get to just improve on the product. And over here you'll see that you're also working in a team, because you'll have the software developer, you'll have someone who gets the user requirements from the users themselves, you'll have the Scrum Master who's like the team lead, you'll have the software testers who'll do the testing, and you'll get to just appreciate each person's role within the team. So they really work together. You can't say that they're in silo. They work together, and you'll get to just have a wonderful experience with both.
Sure. So over to the next question. Someone has asked, how hard is it to get to the Safaricom team or to get an intern position there? I think you can better answer that.
Okay. I think I'm the worst person to answer that, because my experience was just tap, dash, and there I was fully employed and getting my job. But I think the easiest part is actually getting your internship. I know that you guys have undergone various training on CV writing and all that. So you just apply the knowledge that you got from your CV writing training and sessions, and just do your CV. We have a portal where you get to apply once the internship positions are open. I know this year we haven't had any internships. I think the last lot was in January, but due to the pandemic, we were unable to have other interns. But one thing I can say is that once you become an intern, you've already made it. It's 90% of the way, because now once you're an intern, you get to interact with people. It's now here where you get to sell yourself, learn from others, learn what they do, and also get an interest in a particular role. And once you make a rapport with people and you've expanded your network, they'll be able to remember you and refer you not only to Safaricom jobs, but other jobs out there. I've had 3 people who are, I can say, my interns, whom I was able to refer to get a job in another organization, because I knew there was an opening at a particular organization, and there's how they got to get that job over there. And like my current role, it was my former manager who was able to refer me to my job. And not only do you get job referrals, you may not get a job referral, but you may find guys like someone in HR or just or just any other party in your team to be like your mentor and even coach you for interviews out there. And not just Safaricom, any other organization that you get to do your internship in, because as I said, when you're an intern, you're at liberty to do all these things, and feel free to ask these questions, because other guys will be appreciative of you that you are willing to learn and not just sit there in your cocoon of the current role that you've been given. Make your case to everyone, because of course when you're an intern, guys know that the next thing that you want to do is to get a job, and they'll always remember you if you make a positive influence to them, and they'll refer you to all jobs that are out there. Oh, and when I say referral, I don't mean that someone is a referee. you know that there are jobs out here, and maybe like now I'm in Safaricom, I may know there's a position open in Microsoft due to my networks, the network of friends that I have. So I can recommend, for example, I know Harrison, I can recommend Harrison for that job in Microsoft, or I can recommend Charlene for that role in Microsoft. So it's all about making your relationships with people and getting to learn, to just learn from them.
Okay, thank you. On the same note, I just have something to ask myself. There's Safaricom, I saw there was on LinkedIn, they usually advertise for kind of some positions, but they don't ask people to like apply for the real position. There's a portal called Safaricom Evergreen. So would you mind mentioning something about it? If
There is two. Okay, I know of the Evergreen. Evergreen is where you just post your CV and keep on polishing over there. And then whenever there is an open role, that's when you'll be called for interviews to come and apply, to come and be interviewed for that role. And if you're fortunate enough, you get that job. However, there's the other normal jobs which are posted on don't know if it's daily or weekly basis, where you now get to apply for a specific role. I've seen someone was also asking about you UI UX designers. Yes, there are roles for UI UX, and not just UI UX, also all roles apart from medical doctors. Yeah. Even a watchman will also apply.
So there's another question still on the chat. Being a telecom company, the person thinks that you use a lot of Erlang. I think that's a programming language. So, but they're saying that they're sure it depends on the product they're building. So I think probably a better question would be, do you, with your experience in Safaricom, is there kind of a preference of some programming languages?
It's 50-50. I wouldn't say that there's a preference per se, because nowadays guys are being given the chance to just develop solutions on their own as long as they meet the security standards. But I know there's Android programming which is used. There's also TIBCO and Java, of course, and basic C, which is also used. I have never seen Erlang being used as is, but let me not lie, I've never seen anyone using it. But in terms of languages, I know that for all programming languages, the basics are still the same. We know that you still need to declare a variable and you need to assign them and all that. The basics of programming in each language are the same. So even if you know a specific language, as I said, you need to be ready to learn something new. And not just Safaricom, all these other organizations, because you go there to an interview and they say that they want Java programmer, and maybe not Java. Nowadays, guys don't. Maybe a C# programmer is being asked for in that organization. You won't say that you're not applying for the job because you do not know the language. You ought to be ready to learn it. So what you ought to just do is be able to get to the interview room, and once you get there, you just tell yourself, Atakama, you'll go there and you feel like you're not up to par, don't lie. Just tell them that you're ready to learn, and just learn that language that's required within the organization.
So I think there are some few more questions now from Facebook.
Sure. Okay.
I think you can address some of them. So
Sure.
let me read. A team in an office, how do you ensure that you're in sync and productive? So, okay, let me mention the first question. So, how is it for you working with remote-based members of your team, especially with the current COVID situation and work from home policies in place? And
Okay. Sorry, someone is calling. Let me just mute my phone. Okay, so for us, working at home has been an interesting journey, and we really appreciate it. The fact that we have a number of collaboration tools out here, it has made the whole journey being easy. What we get to do is to just, first of all, on a daily basis, we need to just give an update of how things are working on our side, and whenever we need support from our bosses, we just inform them and they're able to follow up with any escalations. But for most of the collaboration tools we use, like for us, we mostly use Teams for our meetings and our chats, and then we get to work on our work using the various systems that we use within the organization. It has been a good journey. At first, it was an adjustment, but we were able to just keep on, and we've adjusted fairly well, a number of us, and we enjoy working from home.
Okay. So I think that has mentioned, it has clarified both of those questions. Let me check if there's any other more questions. So it seems there are no more questions. And yeah, okay, thank you. So thank you so much for making time to attend the first Tech Beat series and sharing your experience. I really loved the way you explained about how you started out in tech, doing computer science and not ever being exposed to programming before. I think that will put everyone who is not a computer science student, because as you say, it's more of solution building, and yeah. So let me check something out here. Oh, sorry, I'm seeing one more question. Sorry, there's someone who was asking what tools you use for work. That is example like Tableau, etc., especially with the way you mentioned about data science. You getting started in data science. Yes.
For my own personal, for work, I mostly use Power BI, Microsoft, because it's easy to get the license here. So that's what I mostly use for my work.
Okay. I think that's a good answer to that question. Thank you so much for hosting the session once again. Yes.
I had one more comment. Sorry, I forgot about it. I've just remembered it. I'd like to relate it more to the pros and cons of what I know now and what I knew back then. I'd like to take it back to my internship and putting it as a startup. as a startup organization. See, when we were during our internship, we had little supervision such that we were able to work as by ourselves without any adult supervision, or if I could call it. So if you're in a startup, all of you are, maybe you're starting a startup with your friends, fresh from university, I would advise you in your board or even one of your partners that you ought to get someone who has been in that industry for some time. I think that's one thing that I've also come to learn, because I remember when we finished school, I wanted to be in a startup. I wanted to start a startup with my friends, but then we were like, we don't have the capital. Of course, we need to get this experience. But then you get to also learn of these roles like change management. You get to learn some of the things that it takes before you get to start a startup, before you get to start a startup. Okay. That use multiple use of start. But anyway, I've also come to appreciate the processes that you need to have, even the licenses as an organization. You need to be ISO certified and all that. I think that's something you need to also appreciate even as you go there, because I know a number of developers, we look at Akina Steve Jobs and Akina Jeff Bezos, and you see the photos online when they were working in their parents' garage, and you just say, wow, but then it's 2020. And these are some of the things that you also need to appreciate. That's something that I can also say.
Sure, that's a good comment, especially in relation to the current trends. I'm seeing so many opportunities. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can now hear you.
Hello. Yes. I
can hear you.
So I was saying that's a good advice, especially when you mentioned about the other processes and regulations when it comes to solutions. It's good to mention for young developers in general. Yes. So that even when one probably maybe someone has attended, has participated in these solution challenges and they have built something, they know like where to start from or who to contact when with reference to the processes and certification sort of. Thank you so much, everyone. This has been a really great session. I've learned a lot, especially and gotten so much motivation in terms of being a developer. So I think it will be of use to the members who attended whatsoever that has been discussed. And that being said, I think we can end the good session.